Hey everyone, this demo is to show a couple of quick things about working with images. So I'm starting in a relatively new and simple HTML file just to be able to show you the basics. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a div because I want to show you how to work with image and how it relates to text. So first I'm going to make a div that's half the width, and if you remember we set this class up already for the half. And I'm going to put some, oops, I have to spell it correctly. There we go. So I've just pasted some text in. You can see over here, then I have a div that's half of the width. And again, that's from a previous demo where we made the class of half be able to be half the width of the container. So then I'm going to add an image here so that you can see a couple different settings about the image and how it wraps around text as an example. So I've already got an image in my week 11 folder. I just added a JPEG here of some project I've been working on. So in my week 11 folder, I have an images folder, and then I have this JPEG that I want to embed here with the text. So I will start with the image tag and then source equals, and then it starts giving me this contextual menu so I can pick images and then the name of the image. And I can close that off. Now, you see it puts it in here. The image is super huge. I don't want it to be that big, so I'm going to assign the width, and I'm going to set it to 200 pixels. So that way, the width is 200 pixels, and if I don't set the height, it's going to automatically scale the image so that it stays in proportion. If you start setting the height, then it can stretch it if you get the numbers wrong. So if you just set one dimension, so if you just set the width, it automatically makes the height what it needs to be in order to stay in proportion. So you notice here with the image that the text starts like on the baseline of the image and then just wraps from there. So one of the first things is the align property allows you to have the text wrap around the entire image. So if I go after the quote, I'm going to say align equals left. And what that means is that like the image goes to the left and then the text aligns around it, basically like wraps around it. And so now my text is a little bit more integrated with the image by having this wrap here, but you notice like it's sitting right against it. And so I want to go in and add a little bit of padding there. In order to do that, I'm going to add a class to this image, and I'm going to say class thumbnail. So this way in my CSS, when I save that, I can use this class of thumbnail to add a little bit of padding to the right side of any of those, any of the images that I end up assigning the class of thumbnail to. So I'm going to select thumbnail and copy it just so I don't have to type it, so that I don't end up making any typos, typographic mistakes, typing mistakes, I should say. Okay, so now I have .thumbnail, and then I'm going to say padding. And if I just say padding like 20 pixels, you see it adds padding all the way around. Maybe that works for you. Or if you just want it to be on the side where the type is, if you say padding right, it'll only add the padding to the right side. And you may also notice that like you can see the type doesn't wrap until it can wrap a full line. So you have to play with like padding right, padding bottom, so that you can get sort of the right look and give yourself a little bit of space there, because when we know this as designers, when that text starts to sit right up against the image and unevenly, it can be very visually disorienting. I'm also going to add just like another comment here so that I can know that these are classes assigned to images. And again, this is just a comment so that my CSS file is a little bit easier to get around in. Okay, so if I go back to my week 11 index.html, another thing that you can do is you can make images links, and you can do that by putting the A link, the A tags around the image tag. So if I say A href equals, which we've done before, and close it off, and then I need to get the close tag after the image, right? So go all the way to the end of the image tag, and you notice here I can add hard returns as I need, because it doesn't have any effect in how the page displays. It just allows me to be able to more cleanly see, sort of how all these things come together. So you can get this sort of cleaned up with some hard returns. Now, what we need to do is we need to add a link to something. So right now it's a link, but it's not a link to anything. If I click it, you can see I get the web finger, but it doesn't link to anything. It's actually just reloading the page. It's linking to itself. So let's go grab a link to something else that we want. So I'll grab a link to my project here. So I copied the link and I come back in here and I paste it into the href. And you'll notice I have the whole link. This is important. It needs to have the whole thing, either HTTP or HTTPS : and then the www. You can't just start it with like www, and you can't just start it with like the youtube.com. It has to have the whole thing in order to tell the browser when you click it that it's going to like an entirely other site. Otherwise, it's going to look for it on your site and it's not there. So if I save this now and it refreshes over here, so now when I click it, you'll see it goes to that link. But you also notice it opened in the same tab. If you want your links to open in a new tab or in a new window, depending on your browser settings, there's a very easy way to do that by adding a target. So you say target equals, and then inside of quotes, you say _blank. And this is so common. I do this all the time. The majority of the links that I write out, if it's not just like part of the website, I put blank so that it will, when I click it, it will open a new tab. And I even do that on my own like portfolio site, so that if somebody clicks on my Instagram link or my SoundCloud link, whatever, when they click on it, it takes them to it opens a new window so that my portfolio website is still there when they close out of like Instagram or SoundCloud or YouTube or something. So now when I save it, make sure it's refreshed. Now when I click it, you'll notice it opened in a new tab because I used this target blank. Okay, hopefully that was helpful. That showed you how to embed an image, how to set some properties of the image, how to make the image a link, and then how to make sure that that link opens in a new tab. And that idea of target equals blank, you can do that on any href, any A link. All right, as always, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out.